Alright, what up YouTube? Having a couple technical difficulties with trying to get my video out right this time, but it's all good. We're gonna get it going. Um, um, my topic is conscious people and the conflict between conscious people and RBG conscious people. RBG being the red, black, and green revolutionaries who are, helping fighting for the freedom of black people in America. I've seen some recent videos with people, black revolutionaries, RBG individuals who are calling conscious people their badass church people. And they are about sitting back and reading and talking and preaching but not doing anything. And I can see where that will cause some frustration for the RBG. But I want to first comment on conscious people and their lack of movement or their lack of action that may have or may be misidentified or properly identified by RBG conscious people. So conscious people's really purpose is to become more conscious of self and everything outside of themselves, along with everything inside of themselves. So everything that's going on inside of their body and how it correlates with everything going on outside of the body. This is how I view consciousness. Now that does not say that I don't identify with RBG and the revolutionary movement, because I do. I understand it wholeheartedly. But one thing about being conscious, you must understand, is conscious people, or understanding consciousness period, you don't waste energy because it's part of your consciousness, how you operate. Nor do you go out and do things that have no clear cut agenda. It has no beginning, nor does it have some sort of end. It's just this continuous, ongoing battle. And that's what, as a conscious person, I have to pull back, because I'm first conscious before I'm RBG. I'm first aware of myself before I start identifying with any other group or affiliation. I can't say I'm this if I haven't probably identified myself. I can call myself anything if I haven't first learned who I really am. And nor can I have anybody outside of me come and tell me who I am without my agreeing on it. So that's where you get a lot of this turmoil or this conflict between conscious people and RBG, is because all conscious people don't identify with RBG. All conscious people don't agree with everything RBG stands for. Conscious people can see through some of the things that RBG fight for. Now, the way I see it is, RBG has a purpose. If you really want to understand it, if we were to build a nation today, who would I be our armed forces? I personally see the RBG being the leaders of our armed forces. They will work together with gang members, active and non-active, and other individuals who want to get together and help police our own communities, and organize and lead and set up a system to where we can properly identify one another and understand who we are and what our mission is. Right now, RBG, in my own personal opinion, is just a reaction from what white supremacy does to black people, as opposed to being a force that just stands for black people. It's not a reactionary force, it's a preventative force. So it's really not engaging white people more than it is engaging the black community and seeing what it can do best for the black community to help serve the black community, right now, they're no different than conscious people, where they get on their soapbox and they get to preaching and start hollering at how black people ain't helping each other. You see what I'm saying? Right when you're doing that, you're leaving you're taking away any kind of help you could have been providing, because you're taking your anger and your frustration and you're venting that, and you're putting that out, as opposed to putting out any kind of solution. Solutions ain't arguing. Solutions aren't debating. Arguing and debating can lead to solutions, but they are not solutions. And if all your argument and debating, if all this is doing is creating more arguing and debating, well, then you're actually on the side of that force that you say you're so against. Because that's exactly what white supremacy wants you to do, is sit there and fight each other. And how can you call yourself conscious if you're falling into that? And that goes for RBG as well. Conscious people can't sit there and fight against RBG, because that's not your enemy. RBG, conscious people are not your enemy. So you can't sit there and, just because you are feeling powerless in your mission because things aren't going your way, you can't find a new person to attack now. Because you really, honestly, you're probably afraid to go at white supremacy because you have no real plan. You want to attack those who seem weaker to you. It's kind of like a bully mentality. Oh, so since, us talking about, what the white man doing ain't really getting a rise out of people, we'll start attacking the people who we need to get a rise out of. Which I can see how that may work. But I can also see how it wouldn't work. Because once again, you're just taking people who are disenfranchised and pointing a finger at them as though they're really the problem. And they could be the problem. But I think you can always catch a fly better with honey than you can vinegar. You understand what I'm saying? We are thriving. We are being taught how to thrive off conflict by our oppressor. So anytime we need to get something moving, we go to conflict. Oh, they ain't listening to what I gotta say, so I'm gonna start talking shit about them. Oh, they ain't about what I'm about, so I'm gonna talk shit about them. Instead of actually going after your enemy. Taking this battle to your enemy in a constructive way. I'm not saying that RBG need to go and get guns and ammunition and just start fighting white supremacy, because that's not really, you can't fight somebody who's a fighter. White supremacy loves to fight. They love to get it on. So if you think you're going to take that battle to them like that and you're going to win, you're not. They have way more guns, way more ammunition than you. As a matter of fact, they're the ones who are going to be giving you guns and ammunition just so they can fight you. That's how morbid the white supremacist mind is. They don't care who they fight, as long as they can fight. And I understand that we're that way too. We have that in us as well, but we also have consciousness in us. We have God in us, and that's what I look at as consciousness. God, the same thing, not the God of the Bible, but the God within you, the God within yourself that gives you discernment, that teaches you things that you weren't taught in a modern book way of learning. You get more intuitive, you get more gnosis, you know things without knowing that you knew them. You know what I'm saying? You meditate, you become still. And that's consciousness. RBG can be, anybody can be conscious. You see what I'm saying? But to say that to group conscious people, which would be everybody for the most part, whether you're conscious or unconscious, because even if you're unconscious, you're still conscious. You're just not aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So I want to calm that down. We are a conflict-driven society, meaning we love to argue and fight about things that's not going to lead to any real solution. If anything, it's going to lead to a worse state of being, or worse existence for whoever is participating in the fight. You know, if RBG wants to get anything accomplished, they need to come up with plans. They need to make plans. They need to come up with plans and start to execute those plans effectively, and then get people on board with those plans. You see what I'm saying? Unless this is part of your plan, saying, hey, we're going to attack the conscious community to see if we can get them on board with us. I hope it works. For a person like myself, it does not work. I feel like you're no different than the white supremacist. Matter of fact, you could be an agent of the white supremacist by your actions. I'm very aware and wary of that. People who look like me actually working for the enemy. And that's a big problem with us right now. That's part of our Willie Lynch and Jim Crow syndrome. We can't trust one another because of what they've implanted in our minds about one another. So that's my time today. I hope this hits home for somebody. I hope this helps somebody. I hope somebody can get some fruit from this and build from it. Understand, I'm not attacking RBG, and I'm not holding conscious people accountable for inaction. What I am saying is we got to come together and work together to get things done and stop attacking one another and attack who the real enemy is. All right, it's your boy Rob signing off. Peace.